Good evening, everyone. We'll be starting there in about a minute, maybe 2 minutes. Just first of all, just to draw your attention to what's on the screen. We'll be asking maybe that you keep your microphones and cameras off just to help with the quality of the call. We are working obviously with technology, so again, there may be a couple of issues along the way. If you are experiencing some issues, we'll ask you maybe just to log out and log back in, and hopefully that should resolve them. We will be looking at a bit of interaction throughout the presentation. Presentation will be ran mainly there by Hugh Kenny, the County Games Manager. When we are looking for interaction, we'll be asking you to use the chat function. My own name is Philip. I'm Wicklow Hurling GDA. I'll be running the stuff in the background, so I relay any of the questions or any of the answers that you might have to some of the tasks to Hugh. So I'd say we'll be beginning there now in about a minute. So.
Okay, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the club coaching coordinator presentation. Hope everybody enjoyed the sunshine there today. Now the reason Philip is here tonight for to kind of coordinate the questions in the chat box is because when I have my computer and presentation on full screen, I can't see the chat box, so Philip will be able to coordinate any messages. When we sat down to design the webinar for tonight, to highlight the important role of the club coaching officer and how it can help and bring a positive development to a club culture. The information that I put together for the next 45 minutes or so can be tailored to suit any individual club, whether it's a small club or a large club, whatever. Going through the presentation with just a few small sample questions, and I would be delighted if anyone that's on the call tonight could interact in the chat box, and Philip will feed back the questions to me. It'll also help during the presentation to know that when I'm looking into a screen here, that I know there's somebody behind the screen, that someone behind the laptop that I'm talking to here in these difficult times, and hopefully we'll get a bit of feedback and reaction and a little bit of discussion as the presentation goes on. So we'll start. So the idea really of the presentation is better coaches, better clubs, better players, better teams, which all leads to better results. It's about the preparation in a club, the things that goes on behind in the background that lead to results on the field. So really, it's that presentation is the presentation on your club coaching coordinator. So without further ado, we'll fire on. So the webinar rationale for tonight: coaches have been identified as key influencers in providing a positive club culture. Coaches strongly influence the club culture and also have a significant impact on the lives of individuals within the club, especially the players. There is now a growing need to support these qualified coaches and clubs in a variety of aspects of this multifaceted role in which they play in the club environment. The understanding of the role of the club coaching coordinator could oversee the growth and development of individual coaches and hence the overall effectiveness of club coaches in the club. The webinar description. So I'll just give you a brief one before we go in. So the webinar will provide information and skill that will equip the club coaching coordinator with the knowledge and confidence that will enable them to make a significant difference to the coaching programme, the coaches and to the value that is placed on the coaches in the club. This webinar adopts an approach that will enable participants to facilitate positive interactions when dealing with coaches and officials within the club environment. So the context of the workshop over the next 45 minutes or so, we'll discuss and highlight the role of the club coaching coordinator plays at club level. So one of the 5 things we're going to look at here tonight will be the kind of the whole club approach and identify the role of the club coaching coordinator. The GA player pathway, the club coaching structures, what they look like, and a template for them. And then we go into a little bit on the plan and selecting and prioritizing of different coaching initiatives that can take place in the club. And then we'll just finish with a conclusion and take home. And if we have any questions at the end, we'll deal with them and have a chat about it as well. So basically, the first slide of it here is the value of the whole club approach. So we have to the left the club coaching coordinator, and that's about direction and leadership, overseeing the coaching in the club, setting high coaching standards and a culture within the juvenile environment, delivering quality experiences to our young players and coaches and parents, promote best practice in the club, develop a strong club culture as regards coaching and preparation and developing teams. And this will support the growth and development of the club as well. And there's also a part of it where the club coaching coordinator at different stages during the year will have to evaluate, and you have to be a facilitator in mentor discussions and different things like that through the year as well. And now from the club approach to it would be kind of that parents' information evenings or sessions are held for each age group. And then you'll talk about their player development, that the club is kind of using a common language, if you like, throughout the whole club process of coaching. And then again, it has to be about the coach themselves and the development of that coach and bridging education into practice and putting it into practice on the field and building partnerships again with your supporters, with the club committee and parents and other teams and county boards and everybody that will be affected through the coach coordinator and the club, push to Nog and fixtures and things like that. So the support of the team around that would be you'd be talking about your GDAs, your GPOs, your games manager, your county hurling officer, your county coaching officer. And then again would be promoting at local activity within the club and in the school and at county board level as well. So the top icon I have up in the right hand corner would be where you have your coaching coordinator in the middle, and the things that the coaching coordinator can control would be the kind of coaches that he's dealing with, the players that coaches deal with. And I suppose we wouldn't have players or coaches if we didn't have parents in the first place. So they all play a big role in the whole club approach to the coaching coordinator. Now the first little bit I'm going to ask you is, in your opinion, what is the role of the club coaching coordinator? I just want you to just think about it for a second, and just if you can type into the chat box one thing to highlight the role of the club coaching coordinator and what. I know we haven't done the role yet, but before I show you the role, how could you identify or what support could a club coaching coordinator give to help the club? So in your own time, if you just type something into the chat there, and then we'll go through the role in detail as well. It's just to give me an idea of what you're thinking about before we present the role. Okay, so I'll give you a minute to do that.
Yep, Hugh, we have one in there straight away. Ensure there are enough coaches for all age groups.
Yeah, definitely. So players and teams wouldn't be able to survive unless you had the numbers looking after them. So that's certainly one, and that'll come in under the recruitment of coaches.
Also have used their expertise to help other coaches develop.
Yeah, definitely. That'll be another big.
Yep, we have encourage coaches to go to Award 1 level, not just settle on foundation.
Yeah, that's to be upskilling their coaching badges as they perform in their role. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. We have provided information on coach development workshops and courses.
Yeah, kind of the main point of contact with our county board and coaching committee and GDAs and GPOs, where they'll be giving you all those information. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Again, we have facilitated coach education program delivered by Games Committee in Wicklow. We have developed players support all age groups and upskill. We have ensured the same message and the club ethos is spread throughout all ages. Coerce parents to get involved and coordinate with the GDA.
Yeah, all very good answers, and all the answers that I'm looking for tonight. And you're not going to, when I turn the next page, I have it kind of broken down into 6 categories. The role of the coaching coordinator. So the role of the coaching coordinator, as we see it, first of all, it's an important position in the club for coach and player development. And one would be assisting the recruitment of club coaches and a club school link coach for the primary school. And then number 2 would be support the coach's journey on the education pathway by upskilling and holding regular coaches meetings. That'll be another important job of the club coach coordinator, and we'll be dealing with that in later slides as well. And number 3 would be a point of contact for the games development activities and county GA staff, where they can offer support to the club coaching coordinator under different activities. And then we'll have the support, the implementation of the GA player pathway or tourist player pathway for all the different age groups. So we'll touch on that for a few minutes in the presentation, because there's been a lot of webinars over the last month on the tourist program. So I'm sure everybody is familiar with that. So we won't go into it in too much detail tonight. So, and the 5th one then would be to help the production of a club games development plan, and we'll be identifying some aspects of a club games development plan in later slides, and how you go about planning that as well. And finally, promote a positive coaching culture in line with the GA's Respect initiative in the club. That the club coaches and club is held in high esteem by your parents, supporters, that they're going into their training session, looking forward to going into their training session, looking forward to putting on their club jersey, and it's a privilege to do that. So that'll be you'll be talking about a positive club culture in your club. So they're basically the 6 roles of the club coaching coordinator. And when the presentation is over tonight as well, I probably should have said it at the start, when the presentation is over tonight, I'll send in on this PowerPoint to everyone, so you'll be able to look back on the slides and you'll be able to talk about it among your coaching committee or whatever later on. So that's the role of the club coaching coordinator. And just when I talk about the role of the club coaching coordinator there as well, it's a role that the person appointed, as you see the little graphic up there where there's a person sitting down in front of a desk and he has an in and out box, and that's not my job. This position certainly can be shared. It can be different parts of your job can be delegated to other people. So we're not saying that everybody has every attribute and every credentials needed for this role. There certainly will be help needed in the position. And we'll be talking about that later on as well. So the first one I'd like to bring your attention to again would be the qualities and skills of the club coaching coordinator. And this is not saying that everybody has these skills. Some of us out there would have some of them, some of us wouldn't have, some of us would be looking to develop them. So there might be other people in your club that might have some of these skills that might be able to assist the club coaching coordinator. We'll just go down through them. Committed to the role. You have to be committed to the role, and whether you're taking on for a year, 2 years, or 3 years. You have to be a leader in your club as a club coaching coordinator, and everybody understands your role and know why you are doing this, and if there's any problem in any particular area, that you're the person that go to looking for guidance and leadership from. So it's also a quality that you plan ahead, you plan the year ahead, you plan ahead with your coaches, and you put a coaching plan in place. So a vision and a plan is definitely a quality of a coaching coordinator. And they also have to be organised. When you talk about organised, that you have to have your coaches organised, you have to make sure the coaches have everything in place, let it be their Garda Vet and their coaching qualifications and their parents' lists. So everything has to be organised as regards individual coaches, and you play a big part in getting the organisation going in different age groups there as well. And there's also going to be aspects of the jobs that you can delegate to others as well. You can form a little committee and get help from other coaches in the club for if you can delegate and little jobs responsible, and it'll all come back and it feeds back under the one umbrella of the club coaching coordinator, where we help each other. An excellent communicator would be an advantage as well, where they're able to communicate the plan. Good communication with coaches is vitally important as well, and to see that position that especially when you get the information coming out from county board or Cushing and Nog or something, that all this information is fed and fed down the line, down the chain, if you like, to all the different coaches and the individual teams. The next one there would be the ability to lead and adapt to the different situations and respond to different queries that happen during the year from coaches, and will you be able to go and get information or instruction to help a particular coach? Or we might have to find that somewhere else. We might have to adapt different things to suit different age groups. So that'll be another quality as well. And the other one would be an ability to monitor and evaluate how a coach is performing, how the team is performing, how the club is performing, how the games development plan is going step by step, and different things like that. So definitely the ability to monitor and evaluate the juvenile coaching programme would be a big advantage and a quality of the club coaching coordinator. And again, we all start with some sort of knowledge, but to have a basic knowledge and understanding of how games development works, how club fixtures work, how coaching programs work would be an advantage as well. But again, this knowledge can be learned ongoing, week by week, as you settle into the job, especially with the contact and relationship you'd have with a GDA or a GPO in your club as well. So that's where your support mechanism comes in to help develop your knowledge and under the role of the club coaching coordinator. So the next question I'm going to put up for you, and we're going to deal with three phases here now. So the first phase would be list one thing that a club coaching coordinator should do during pre-season. So identify how a club coaching coordinator can help your club in pre-season now. Now, we're talking about this is the early part of the season before they're getting up and running and different things like that. So if you could just put a couple of things into the chat there, just one thing from each person on it will be enough to generate. And then I have a list of things in the next page. But I just want to understand your thinking, how you're thinking, and how a club coaching coordinator can help in pre-season. So one thing, everybody, if you can just take your time and put it in there.
Yep, so we'll have one straight away, Hugh. Set up committee to share the workload and delegate tasks.
Yes, exactly.
That was our first one in there, so we'll give them another one in there is coaches for each team.
Coaches, recruitment of coaches for each team, yeah, exactly.
Another one, the same again, try to get new coaches in.
Yeah, we're always looking for coaches. You're never happy with the amount of coaches you have. You should always get helpers or support if people there, parents are enough to. And there's another one there, Philip, is there?
Yeah. So another one there is to check there's enough equipment.
Exactly, that'll be one of the main parts of it. Just making sure you have enough equipment for the different age groups and teams to support the year. So we'll move on to the roles that we see fit now. Now these will be the pre-season So you're talking about value and acknowledge their commitment, first of all, when they come back in. So it's an email invitation, welcome back to the club, establish a date and venue for the first meeting, and welcome back, and introduce new coaches to the committee and to your coaches meeting, your first meeting. Ensure all coaches are fully qualified, guard vetted, have their safeguarding up to date. Find out which coaches may want or need support for their development. Ensure all coaches hold a parents' meeting for their age groups, and that text messages are set up from each management team. Have the communication about training and matches with their own age groups and players, and ensure all coaches have enough equipment and club gear available with them. So there are some of the points. Like another point you could throw into just ensure that membership is paid up by all the different teams as well. But it'll be the individual coach responsible for them. But again, you'd have to communicate that message to them as well. So there are some of a list of the six points that we'd see that would be the job or part job of a club coaching coordinator in pre-season when dealing with a club. So the next one I just want you to think about, this is during the season now. So I want you to identify how the club coaching coordinator can help the club during the season. This is when the games are up, the training is up, the season is progressing nicely. So what influence or one thing that a club coaching coordinator can help during the season? So I'll give you a few minutes to deal with that then.
We have review sessions and feedback, Hugh.
Yeah, that'll be big part of your job. Just looking at the sessions that the coaches are doing and giving advice for the coaches as the season progresses. Is that excellent?
We have the same one there, kind of evaluate coaching sessions and give feedback. We have regular check-ins with each coach, approach prospective coaches for the following year. So you're kind of getting ahead of yourself.
Yep. Okay. So we'll go on with it then. Next one, Philip. Yep. So you're in a supporting role now. So you're in a supporting role when the season actually is in progress. So it's about establishing ground rules. How does the coach want you to support them? Clarifying the coaching role to provide safe, organised, enjoyable and engaging practices. Plan for regular 6 weeks meetings. Agree a calendar of coaching meetings. So this is something clubs have to set up. It's not about in pre-season giving the club a bag of footballs and cones or slitters and let you off and say, good luck, I'll see you now at the end of the year. Like that's no way to monitor or support a coach during the year. Then you'll be talking about observe the agreed coaching behaviours. That's to support the coach's development and provide advice and support when necessary. Develop an understanding of the coach's needs and wants. Be mindful of the coach's experience and requests. Thank them and ask them where they might like more support. Okay, so they'll be just keeping regular check on them. It's basically that presentation and that slide there will be about supporting the coach. That's what the in-season and playing season is all about, supporting the coach. Yes. And the next one is the end of season. So if you could just type in one or two things there. One thing, how a club coaching coordinator could help the club at the end of season. Yeah, we'll give you a few seconds for that.
First one, there's a coach's night out.
Yeah, very good.
Review what went well and what didn't go well.
Yep.
We have reviewed. Review what went well. Arrange awards event. Another one there, a night out. Evaluate how things went. Thank everyone again. Get feedback from all coaches. Feedback and learnings leading to new objectives for the following season. Very good one there.
Yeah, exactly. So, again, the end of season would be to value and acknowledge their contribution for the year's work they're after doing for the club and developing the players. So it'd be an email reminder to complete a post-season survey for coaching players and teams. So you have to get some sort of a survey organised. How do you think the year went? A bit of feedback generally it is from your coaching team and how the year went and things like that as well. Review each team's display and commitment during the year and plan for an end of season prize giving. Use the SWOT analysis template to complete your annual review with your management team, which we'll deal with in a few minutes. Check all equipment and make sure there's any outstanding invoices are paid, i.e. referees, expenses, etc., that would have incurred during the year. Reward them for their efforts with an end of season party or token of thanks. Email or send a thank you on behalf of the club. So there are a few more points that a club coaching coordinator could work with the club during the end of the season as well. So these are just tips for when the club coaching coordinator is working with your coaches in the club. A creative and supporting environment. That's what you want to have in place. So it's about acknowledging their commitment to develop and recognise the privilege to be invited into the coach's environment. Make it feel that it's your honour to be in helping and supporting those as a club coaching coordinator. Make the coach as comfortable as possible with your present at training times. He doesn't want to be looking over his shoulder, see is he looking at you, is he taking notes, or is he judging me, or is he judging me? Discuss and agree with the coach when they want feedback from the session, in what form and when, during or after the session. Let the coach coach. So basically when you're there, it's about letting the coach coach and you are observing the session as the session progresses. Be as honest as possible. Observe from a distance, no clipboards. You don't want to make it official or anything like that. So it's only you're standing beside him, you're talking to the coach maybe before or after, and there probably be a few teams when you're doing this. There probably be a few teams in the club that might be coaching at this particular time that you could move around between sessions as well. Only intervene in a coaching session if a safety issue arises or when directly asked by a coach. Focus on the coach, but check the players' reactions to the messages just to see are they understanding what communication or instructions that the coach is giving the players as well. And then that'll be your base for feedback and things like that when you're talking to them during the end of it. So basically, there's another slide I've put together. Nobody cares how much you know until they know how much you care. So that's really what it says about a club coaching coordinator. And for this is we have 2 ears and 1 mouth, and we can listen twice as much as we speak. So a coaching coordinator can offer support without being too dominant or too strict or too imposing on any coaches. And it's really a friendly chat. You put yourself in their shoes and respect their commitment to volunteer, as this is important in working with new and inexperienced coaches. Put aside your perception of the situation for the moment and refrain from giving advice or your point of view, and be mindful of your body language and your tone of voice. Okay? It's hard to get coaches, so when you're dealing with them and talking, providing feedback at the end, just watch all those things when you're trying to provide a support mechanism at the end of it to them. Mistakes have the power to turn you into something better than you were before. Everything we do and say sends a message. Therefore, it is important to ensure the message being received is the one which we intend to say. And that'll say you can get mixed communication from messages and mixed signals. So plan what you're going to say before you say it. Just a little bit on the player pathway. Again, I'm not going to go into too much detail on this. It's just highlighting the different stages of the player pathway there on the left-hand side, the tourist, where you have your nursery, you have your 7 to 9, 10 to 11, 12 to 13, 14 to 15, 16 to 17, and then 18 plus. And then you have your different environment where the game, the player, and the coach are important. And they're kind of looking in from the outside at skills level, where you have technical, tactical, team play, and physical fitness. And you have the psychological focus and the persistent feedback. Now, that's a kind of a standard template for each of the different age groups, but you can imagine all the different activities from inside the circle change as the years and as the ages progress. And on the back of that activity, player pathway book, you have an activity then highlighting the skills that you can use and some of the session plans you can use in that particular age groups. And it's also highlighting your tourist principles and making sure your tourist principles are of the highest value when you're doing your pre-season meeting with your coaches, and that you're implementing that team means testing and challenging. All players should be challenged to improve at their level, and use understanding the players at the centre of the game, providing individual development to the player, and that resembles the games. It's game-based activities that the coaches are coaching during the sessions, and it's all inclusive. All players are involved all the time. So number of touches, number of decisions on the ball. So, and then that should be it should be fun, should be enjoyable, developmental, appropriate to different age groups. So that's the tourist player pathway, and the way we have the tourist player pathway structured in the county here would be, first of all, is to deliver the player pathway workshops. That might be the individual player pathway workshops or the club tourist player pathway workshop. And once the club has achieved that at a particular age group, or of all the age groups, then the club visit 1 takes place. That's where your GPO or your GDA takes part in the session with examples of good practice and reviews the session using the tourist principles with your coaches and the players. And then from a follow on from that and communication with the coaches on session 1, the GDA or GPO moves into session 2 where they visit the club and observe the coaches coaching the children themselves, and then providing feedback to the coaches based on tourist principles as well to support their coaching activities as well. So that's basically the role of the player pathway. And again, this is tourist coaches. It's about, for the coaches themselves, it's about taking ownership of their own coach development and becoming reflective coaches. If they're thinking about their sessions, they're thinking about their games. And the you for the coaches would be understand the technical, tactical, physically, psycho-behavioural development of young players and apply age-appropriate coaching toolkits that develop these components. So that's the understanding of the GA model of coaching. And then it's recognised the importance of work towards a coherent, consistent, shared understanding of long player development, and apply age-appropriate, games-based, player-centred coaching and games programme, and share knowledge and experience with other stakeholders along the player pathway. That's if you're having your club coaches meeting, as we said, that you might have every 6 weeks under your club coaching coordinator, that you'd share information and share knowledge and share activities and skills with each other to support every coach in the club. And under the tourist principles, then the players, this is how the players benefit. The players take responsibility for their own development and self-regulate their own behaviour. They understand they can execute the fundamental exercises that you go with, the squats, the lunges, etc., which underpin their performance really as they're learning throughout the different ages and stages of their development. And they recognise the importance of physical, psychological and lifestyle components with an overall performance, and demonstrate the willingness to develop these factors on a regular basis and appropriately respond to challenges and have skills and confidence to adapt to new contexts, and show the ability to demonstrate composure under pressure and execute appropriate skills, tactics under competition pressure in a widening technical and tactical skill set while obtaining results. So they're the kind of the principles for players and coaches. And again, it's part of the overall Leinster GA player pathway. So a few of the things, how you embed the player pathway in your club would be the actions, the outcomes, the milestones, the time scales and the responsibilities, how you'd organise a workshop in your club, how you'd liaise with the GPO, GDA, and get all coaches going to a workshop, provide ongoing assistance, we're after kind of talking about that in other slides, but you have it there as kind of broken down into a nice little template which is easily read and easily understand. So you'll be able to go back after that when this presentation is over and look at how they are implemented over the course of the timescales as well, and who's at the end of it. It gives a bit of responsibility, who's responsible for the different things we can help the coach coordinator on the player pathway. So basically the player pathway leads to developing coaches, and if you develop coaches, that gives a plus where you can develop your players. And then if you're developing your players, you're retaining your players, where it's making it enjoyable and from coming to train and playing the games. And if those three are running, it gives an equal sign, where it gives you a better club, a better understanding, a better club culture, better structure to your coaching program. The next couple of slides we'll go through would be our development of the club coaching structure and how effective your club coaching structures are, and building from the foundations up. So this is a kind of a model, a club county model, if you like, where you have your juvenile chairperson at the head of it, and then you have your juvenile secretary, you have your club coaching coordinator then identified there in the club coaching coordinator is then identified in the middle, your juvenile committee, your PRO, your club coaches, your club coaching committee, your club children's officer, your full-time games development staff, that'll lead into the county officer, your county coaching officer and your county hurling officer, your coach to know committee, your county coaching and games development committee, the juvenile CCC fixtures at Board and Og, and that moves up to which supplements the adult board in the middle, would be your county steering committee, where you have officers and we have a full-time staff, and your hurling officer and coaching officer on that committee, and then you have your juvenile CCC for dealing with discipline. So that's basically a basic structure, and some of the arrows are pointing down. Them arrows pointing down could just as well be going across, running across. There's no real kind of pattern which way they can be aligned to each other. It's just to say that they're all under that one umbrella of the first four, from your juvenile chairperson, juvenile secretary, juvenile club coaching coordinator, and juvenile committee. And that leads on to your club coaching model, where you have the club at the centre of this model. So you have your nursery to your right, and then you're going to your child, youth and adult programs, and then it feeds into the left, where you have your primary school, your post-primary school, your third level college, and everything that backs up that. All those different strands will be your coach education along with that will support that model. And breaking that down further now would be putting the player at the centre of it. This is a GA framework where you put the player at the centre. Would be stage one would be your schools, stage two would be your skill development, stage three would be your games program, stage four would be your camps, and then stage five would be the players going into talent academy squads, and finally up to inter-county minor squads. So basically, putting the player at the centre gives you 6 key attributes for players. So you want your players to be passionate, you want them to be committed, you want them to be creative, you want them to be respectful, you want them to be resilient and responsible. Okay, so they're the 6 key attributes we'll be looking for, a kind of a player-centred GA framework in your club as well. So moving on to the next slide. Again, better coaches, the better they are able to provide quality opportunities to your players to develop. So it's all about the coaches, improving their knowledge, seeing the skills of the game in hurling and football, identifying the skills, identifying what they're coaching, planning their sessions out, what they're using in each particular session, and developing those. So, and if they're developing those and they're attending community of practice, and they're moving up the ladder through the coach education program. That'll all lead to better coaches, better teams, and better opportunities for players in your clubs. Now, here's an important slide that I say as well. This will be the influence of the club coaching coordinator in supporting the club coaching structures in your club. So we take the schools. So some of the activities that take place under that head in schools will be primary school coaching, post-primary school coaching, recruitment of players, sharing of facilities. You have your club school link, you have school blitzes, you have a games program, you have updating the school and all the sport, and supporting the teachers. So there's a lot of activities under the school umbrella there, and that'll lead us into your games then when you're representing the club. You have your Go games, your formal games program. You have some clubs run mini All-Irelands or street leagues. You have your Super Games Centre. Have regular games. You have challenge games. You have the player pathway leagues. You have the Leinster Cross County Leagues for under 13 and under 15. You have the Respect Initiative. And it's all about full participation as well. And then leading on to the coaches, where the coaches become involved, you have the quality coaching sessions, you have the coach education programs, you have your session plans, equipment. You have equipment for the different age groups. You have your skills testing, where you'll be testing them through the different age groups as well. You have your fitness and your strength and conditioning. And then it'll lead to either club camps or county camps for the developer players to coaching as well. And just making sure that everyone's safeguarded, guarded, vetted, follow the player pathway, and are mentored. So that'll revolve around coaches. But there's also people in the club that has to come in under the coaching coordinator structures as well, and club structures which help the club. And this will be with committees. It'll be through volunteers, which help with fundraising, the coaches themselves, the parents, the referees, the supporters, and the family, which all make up the GA community, if you like, to support the club. We're not too far away now from the end. So one of the other things that I'm going to ask you as well, and you can just feed into the chat as well. Here, one thing that your club has done really well in the last 12 to 24 months from a games development point of view. What has your club done really well in the past 24 months that you could say, you can put up your hand, oh yeah, our club has done this in the last 24 months, and our players and coaches have benefited from this? Can anyone think of anything that they've done over that period of time that they're willing to put into the chat?
So we have good connection with the school for one of them, Hugh. We have recruitment of new coaches has helped. Embrace the coach education program, to deliver better coaches and consequently better players.
Yeah, well done, everyone. That's some of the things that we'll be looking for and identifying that what clubs have done well over the last period of time. Just on a plan now, I'm not going to spend much detail on this because everyone, I'm sure, has gone through this process, if you like, as regards the plan for GA clubs and the plan to improve your club's performance on the field. And this is kind of through an audit and knowing what's available in the club and knowing how many numbers you have there, and knowing the activity that the club can process, and recording this. And it's of useful information then when you're going forward, put a plan together. And when you're putting a plan together and when you're sitting down with your coaches to identify different things at the start of the year, when you're planning your pre-season, your in-season, and your end of season and during season. and especially with the help and support of a games development plan as well. So you have your activity here where you're looking for to record the different things in hurling as well and in camogie. Your club structure then where you are now, the different things that you're looking for. Are you able to take yes or no? Does your club have a children officer? Are all the coaches Garda vetting? Do you have a code of conduct for coaches and players and parents? So they're all, and then you have your community links. Where does your club have a club school link in place? Does your club help with local coming and school teams? Does your club support the local post-primary school? So looking back on these, you can look back on these when we send the email and when you're having your meetings with your club and when it's up for discussion. This is an important document that should be going through and should be able to greatly assist a club in through their planning. Then you have a little section there on your coach education, as regards of all coaches being involved with the club. To see person qualified first aid, has attended tours, workshops, done the Gaelic 15, etc. Just recording the details of what is going on in the club to have it. And then you go through your games. Does your club host a GA cool camp? We'll just pick a couple of them, do the participate and promote and go games. Is there indoor activity provided during the winter months? So there's another list of different recommendations and different things there that your club need to look at when you're in the process of planning as well. And then that'll lead on to when we were talking about at the end of the year, start of the year, when you're doing a SWOT analysis and where you need to be. This is a section where you review the checklist, do a SWOT analysis, identifying where the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats related to your club. And you carry out this exercise in a group setting with your coaches and have a facilitator there. That can be a GPO or a GDA to facilitate that meeting to get the required information the clubs are looking for. So you're looking for identify those 4 things in the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats going forward. And then when all those are identified, your plan, your priorities for the club in the next 3 years, where you're listing your 4 priorities that the club wants to work on going forward. And these should be critical to the improvement of your coaches, your clubs, your players. And again, that's just a template on how you will get there, and the area that you're writing down, the actions, when it's going to be done, and who's going to take place and who's going to be responsible for it. It's just itemise those down as you go through the planning process and recording them and having them written down, that you're able to look back, and it'll be a checkpoint then for when you're going forward, when you're putting your plan into action. And again, there's no point, because I know lots of clubs have done this, put some of the actions down on a piece of paper, done it one night, 2 nights, and having looked up or down and had sense. A plan is a review document which should be reviewed ongoing. It should be reviewed monthly, quarterly, yearly. Make sure what's in it is being implemented and the actions taking place. So if you don't look ahead, it's very hard to implement what you have written down without taking the little actions as the weeks and months go by. So from a games development perspective, you have the different things that come in under player welfare there. So you have GA15, concussion, cardiac screening, and so on to the left, and the games opportunities are in the middle, and then you have your development opportunities to the right hand side. So as you're going back to your clubs and you're having your meeting with your clubs, and the things under the red is what I want to bring your attention to really is not aware of the initiative, not doing it, aware of the initiative and not doing it, aware of the initiative and doing it. So these are different things, games development initiatives that your club have to highlight to your coaches. Are we doing this? Should we be doing this? Do we need to do this? What do we need to work on? How do we need to get there? And it's all about just contacting either myself as games manager, your regional GDAs or your GPOs would help implementing those different games development activities in your club. And when you have those, it's those activities, just prioritising the key initiatives, what your club is doing. What's your club doing well consistently? What's it doing poorly? Doing well occasionally, or not doing that should be doing? And this will all go to kind of formalising the plan at a later stage. There are only guides here on how you prioritise key events at the end of it. So basically, our aim is to get coaches to realise that we can achieve success if we work together and create a win-win situation. So if our accommodation, you win, you lose sometimes. You compromise, sometimes I win, sometimes I lose. Competition, I win, you lose. And the collaboration point of this, I win, you win. So that's the last one is really what we're looking for. The win-win situation. I win, you win. When we're collaborating, first as a juvenile club, second as a group of coaches, and thirdly when you're involving the community and parents in the whole process of development as well. So that's what we're looking for. Collaboration, I win, you win. And then the conclusion would be, where do we go from here? We do not learn from our experiences, we learn from reflecting on experience. And that's one of the good quote. It's very hard to say that you learn from experience. You have to look back on your experience and say, what did I learn from that? How could I go better? How could I do it better? How could I implement it? How could I develop it? So we have to learn from reflecting on experience in order to improve. And you have to clubs have to start the process. You start with your role and how you can help. Involves the club, involves the coaches. You plan, you do, you implement, you check, you review, you act, and you change if necessary, if it needs to be changed. So it's about who, what, how, why, when, and where, as regards on the plan. So it's questions you ask for to get the answers. And you will never change if you don't confront. We cannot make changes without changing our thinking. Okay, so that's basically in the plan. We have to change before we confront. We have to change our thinking before we can change our actions. For the take homes I'm looking for everyone on the webinar tonight would be the first one, the take home, coaches, and ensure the coaches stick to the 5 tours principles, right, that we've outlined earlier in the slides. And then number 1 will be selling the importance of these initiatives on the menu list, but we're after going to games development activities. Equipping players, coaches with the skills to progress at all levels. Creating the right environment culture in coaching sessions and games. Providing opportunity to all. Getting organised and delegating responsibility is the key to successful implementation of these ideas. We don't have to do it all ourselves. Now, that's why I was saying earlier, we mightn't have all the qualities necessary to fulfil a role of a club coach and coordinator. And this is where we get to help by delegating responsibilities to support some of these ideas. So we don't have to do it all ourselves. Having a fully operational and functional coaching committee in place is vitally important as well. It's not left to the club chairman and club secretary or your club coaching coordinator. Invite all the other communities, coaches around into your back garden, if you like, into your clubhouse. Get them involved, get them more involved. It's not just about being out with the individual team that they're part of. Get them involved in the whole club structure to help one another as you go forward. Contacting your GDAs for support in these areas, or your hurling officer or your club coaching officer. Putting a coaching plan in place in line with the player pathway. So they're basically some of the take-homes I'm looking for your club coaching coordinators to bring back to the club after tonight's webinar. And at the end of it, it's everybody's club. You can't say just because you're chairman, this is my club, I'm secretary, this is my club. The club belongs to everyone. The club belongs to the parents, the club belongs to the members, it belongs to the players, it belongs to the chairman, it belongs to the secretary, it belongs to the whole community. Once everyone has left their role and position, the club is still going to be standing. And that has improved down through the years from different officers and different people, different coaches have left their positions and moved on. There's also always a vacuum there that's going to be filled by other people coming through. So that's not my job. This is a good little article that if you can have a quick read through it there. This is a story about 4 people named everybody, somebody, anybody and nobody. There was an important job to be done and everybody was sure that somebody would do it. Anybody could have done it, but nobody did it. Somebody got angry about that because it was everybody's job. Everybody thought anybody could do it, but nobody realised everybody wouldn't do it. It ended up that everybody blamed somebody when nobody did what anybody could have done. A bit of a tongue twister, but it just gives you the feel, and it gives after looking at that sharing ideas, getting everyone involved, and getting everyone part of the process is the part of setting up a good coaching program in your club. I think we've only 2 more slides, you'll be glad to know. So I'm just looking for a little bit of feedback in this one, if you like, for future webinars for our GDAs and GPOs. We've planned webinars for June, and the process we go for June. So in your role as club coaching coordinator, what would you like us to expand on, or would like to see a future webinar built structured around what topic or support? So I'll give you about 30 seconds or so. If you can think of it and put something into the chat, we'll be able to record it. Or even if you don't put it into the chat now, it'll still be open for the rest of the evening. If you can't think of it on the spot, if you'd like to put something into it, something you'd like our coaching and games development staff to put together that might be of assistance to your club, might be assistant to you as a role of a club coaching coordinator or the whole club in general. And that's our second last slide, if you like. It's a slide highlighting the areas that we're involved in the county, the programs that are involved in the county, the staff that are involved, the contacts. And the secret of change is to focus all around, not on fighting the old, but on building the new. There's a new FTEM framework coming out in work done at the moment. It was Michael Dempsey was down in Auckland, and he presented it to our clubs in Auckland during the earlier part of the year. And the GA are working on a totally new framework to support coaches, to build activities around different elements of the FTEM framework. And from all accounts, and kind of being involved with the process of it and meetings through it, it will be exciting times for definitely coaches with the new material that's going to come out. And the idea that Crow Park is going to have a launch of that with the new GA coaching conference that's going to take place in the early part of next year, hopefully. So again, you'll be able to see that yourselves when I share the presentation with you. So that's the end of the presentation. I know we went a little bit over the 45 minutes. I hope the presentation has been of some help to clubs, and it's highlighted the important position role of the club coaching coordinator. So from here, if you'd like to again talk to your GDAs, talk to your GPOs, myself, your coaching officer, your hurling officer is on dial, the coaching officer. So if anybody has any questions of what I've shared in the presentation or what we've talked about there for the last hour or so, we'll try and answer your questions. We're not saying I'm going to have the answers for you here and now, but if we don't have the answers here and now, I'll come back to you at a later stage with some of the information that might be relevant to answering the question for you. So if anyone's any information, PJ or Philip there, you can deal with through the chat, and thanks everybody for their attendance.
No problem, Hugh. There's a few good suggestions of stuff coming through there from your previous question or your previous suggestion there as well. So Great. If you want to keep those coming in, as I say, we'll be able to see those as they come through. No questions there as of yet.
Just if they're typing in questions there anyway, Philip, there you can just list out the type of things that you want to see there anyway. It'll give us a start anyway.
Yeah, so 1 second there now, I'll just go back up through. So we're kind of looking at youth player retention and recruitment, how to get primary schools more involved in club activity, managing transition from minor to adult, appropriate S&C sessions for different age groups, foundation level coaching that would help new coaches gain more confidence in taking the team, games and drills they could use to get going with them. That's looked at being aimed at under 7 and 9. Then that's kind of those help with our templates for athletic development for different age groups, and then that's kind of the ones that have come through so far. Hugh.
Okay, that's great, and thanks for the feedback there, lads, as regards the webinars going forward. And some of the things you're after mentioning, believe it or not, we have as webinars for the month of June. I think we've 9 or 10 webinars for the month of June, and there's a good few of them you're after mentioning. Then there tonight will be as webinars for the month of June from our games development staff, and we'll be presenting them over the weeks in June. Next Wednesday.
Yeah.
Or Philip, if you just want to just mention your own one on Monday night there first.
Yeah, so Monday night we're finishing the tourist webinars from the hurling side of things for the under 17 and 16 player. That's going ahead on Monday night at 8 o'clock. And again, if you want to register on the link that was sent out to the clubs, the link can be sent out to you then for the meeting on Monday. Paul is also doing one on Wednesday night. It's a systems of play football workshop. And again, you have to pre-register for that one, I think, you as well, don't you?
Yeah, no, that's I think that's building a system to play workshop next Wednesday night will be a very interesting topic, especially for our coaches. I think there's something like 80 registered at the moment, and that's growing all the time. So we'll be advertising that after your session, Philip, on Monday night. So yeah. I suppose without further ado and holding people up, again, thanks everybody for registering tonight, and enjoy the rest of the long weekend. Thanks very much.
Right. Thanks, you.